Hello, my name is Mike Perdani. I'm here with Jason Wyatt. I recently made a video about the attrition rate with the Sheriff's Department, and I'd like to get a little bit of clarification from the candidate who I'm supporting on some of his views and what can be done to help the cost of the taxpayers losing officers. So I don't have a hard number, but I've been told by a lot of the deputies and officers that last like 7 years they've lost like 30 officers.
Right. That's what I've heard.
And so I attribute that. Well, I'll ask you the question. What do you attribute the attrition rate to?
So, like I've said before, I think in the early part of that, some of it was pay, right? Dearborn County since got their pay up and their comparable pay throughout
Yep.
to other departments, right? But yet, when you still have senior guys leaving to go to other departments or just leaving to go do a complete different job, it tells you one thing, that there's a morale problem, and morale starts at the top and works its way down. It doesn't start at the troops and work its way up, right? So it's a leadership issue.
So a former deputy had reached out to me. He made a good point. I have part of his testimony, and I'll share that. But he said good cops don't leave good departments. And just a little bit about myself. I'm a retired lieutenant of 26 years. I worked for a department that at one time was not so favorable in the county.
Right.
We had a 70%
remember
conviction
them
rate.
years.
Oh yeah. And I blame the attrition rate at that time on our leadership.
Yeah.
Does a 20-year-old police officer make a good leader, in your opinion?
No.
Okay.
Can they?
Yeah.
Yes. But I mean, I agree that, just because you've been there 20 plus years doesn't mean you're going to make a good leader, right?
Absolutely. Leaders are, in my opinion, and some people are going to disagree with me, but leaders are, they're not born. I mean, they're made. And can you tell me a little bit about maybe your leadership experience and what you can bring to the table to maybe help, with this attrition rate?
Right. So, leadership experience, right? So, I was in the military 28 years between active and reserve service. Out of that 28 years, 25 of those years I sat in leadership position. Everything starting as a E5 sergeant, in a team leader position, then squad leader, then platoon sergeant, and then a first sergeant, and then I sat as a command sergeant major for a year and a half. So I've been in leadership at all different levels. From a team leader, you're 3-4 people,
Right.
is what you're in charge of. To a battalion command sergeant major, you can be in charge of up to 1,000 people, and so you build off all those different positions, right, that you've sat as a leader, and that's what creates, once you get to the top level, like command sergeant major level, you understand. And there's different styles of leadership, right?
Yep.
You know that from the Marine Corps. But what I found out is, in just my experience, if I use a participative style of leadership, I think your people are more apt to work harder for you, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I'm not saying, if I'm the sheriff, I'm going to be out there on the road every day. It's impossible, right?
Correct.
But if I can still get out there and be amongst the guys, even if it's with training, and it's always been in the sheriff's department, the command staff, not so much there at your training events, right? They might pop in.
Why?
I don't. I'd love to tell you.
I
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because it's just as important for them to know how to do.
Their job.
Say we're doing Alice training or school,
Right.
for school shooting.
Absolutely.
This just as important for them to know it as it is for me to know it.
Now, why is that? And I'll go back, the Marine Corps. Whatever my job was in the Marine Corps, my first job was one thing. It was a rifleman, right?
Correct.
So, I've always said, we're the chief of police or lieutenant or whatever. Your first job is still, a police officer.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when that balloon goes up on that active shooter or that threat, and you're in the area, you're responding.
Mm-hmm.
And you retain those tactics and you retain, all that knowledge but once you get on scene, then your role should be command, and you should be able to command your troops and they should want to follow you,
Exactly.
And I think the military's got to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, 250 years they have.
Yeah.
I have an old non-commissioned officer guide, from like 1917 or something like that, and just the reading through it and the vast knowledge that's in there. That's just it's common sense knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. And it talks about leadership stuff. It talks about there's a section in there called Be Manly.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, and it tells you how to be a man.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like that.
What year was that?
Like 1917 or
Yeah,
something.
they couldn't publish it.
No, but it's just it's so amazing that that's an important thing. It's an important thing for you. It's an important thing for me,
Right.
for like my son to train him up to be a man.
Right.
And in our society today, we're not doing that.
Well, just a fun little fact, and just talking, we were retired on the same day.
Yeah.
You know that? Yeah. I didn't know you were retiring.
Yeah.
I don't think you knew I was retiring, but yeah, exact same day, like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
2023.
That's it. So, the sheriff election was coming up, and I was doing a lot of thinking, and I'm still friends with a lot of the troops. We talk a lot, and there's so many people unhappy. And I want to share a testimony and a story of a former deputy, a near and dear friend of mine, right? That we go out, quite a bit, and we talk. He's not able to talk because he has another position at a department. But the story is, he's working for a big department over in Kentucky, and he's contacted by the sheriff, this sheriff, to come over and work. Mm-hmm. And he's a 20-some-year veteran, worked in the detective field. Their department does things a little bit different, but he works for a big department. He comes over and he just tells me this horrible experience. Now, in my opinion, and you can correct me, whatever, I want to hear your opinion on it. If you're able to retain somebody with some knowledge, that has been there and done that, it's a good person,
Mm-hmm.
good fit or whatever, you would think you would treat them very well.
Sure.
And I'm not saying, make them put on day shift and get them to Texas spot and all that kind of stuff, because that's going to kill morale too.
Right.
Whenever you don't hire within on those specialty things. But anyway, he kind of told me the horror stories, In February, he decided to come over here. In May, he shows up and he has no uniforms. He had to use his personal gun. There was a period where he had to wear his own personal vest that his old department gave him.
Yeah, it's horrible.
He says his car was atrocious. Now, he come from a credit department, so they do things a little bit different. But that aside, he talked. He said he loved the guys. He loved working with the guys. He had no complaints at all. He brought up a story of I think it was a robbery. He was working a special detail. He was on his way home, and he had no skin in the game. But he heard and he knew that the shifts are always short. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he swings by and he offers assistance. He says, "Hey man, I know somebody from my old department or my old area that's got a drone, and I might be able to get a drone up here and help." So he makes that phone call. They get a drone. They catch the bad guy. Everything's great. No one gets hurt, right? He says it was really amazing to him that he never got like an attaboy. Like nobody had called him. I mean, and just the simplest thing that, like, hey man, you did a good job. It means so much.
Sure.
Especially in a thankless job. And the last horror story I want to tell you about this, and this will blow your mind. I don't know if you heard this or not, but he decides this isn't the right fit. And he decides to go back over to the other state that he was working. puts his 2 weeks notice in, does everything right. He actually works night shift, and that morning decides to turn on all his gear. Well, it's like 6 in the morning. He's working night shift. Brings all his stuff in. He asks the sergeant, who he talked highly of, if he could get a ride back home. And the sergeant said, well, I got to go up the chain of command. And the chain of command said, tell him to find his own ride. Now listen, he could have called my old department, and we would have sent 10 guys to send him home.
Right.
Like in a heartbeat, no questions asked. You know what I mean? Like, police work is just wild to me.
Right.
But these are the problems that you have to clean up if you're elected sheriff. So I just went on a rant.
No,
really
so
not
the
asking
crazy
questions.
thing, and here's one of the things I got out of what you were talking about there. Again, that stuff's horrible and should never happen, right? For one, but when he's talking about, hey, I need a ride home, and talking with a supervisor, and supervisor's like, I have to run this up the chain.
Why?
Why?
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, if I'm elected sheriff, my sergeants, right, they're gonna have all the power in the world.
Micromanaging is at its best, right?
Yeah, you know what? This whole having to call up the chain for every little thing is absolutely ridiculous. And if they need a crime scene tech, they can call a crime scene tech.
Right.
If they need a detective, they call a detective. If whatever they need, but again, when you give people those kinds of responsibilities, they also have to justify their actions, right? And if they make a wrong call, it's on them, right? But I think it's so much better when you give people those opportunities,
Absolutely.
because that's how people grow, and that's how people become better leaders.
Absolutely.
Yep.
If
I'm telling somebody what to do all the time,
why even have them?
exactly,
I mean, why even have them?
exactly.
And if you have the faith and the confidence to put stripes on him, right? Then you should have the faith and confidence that he can man his post and do what's right.
Again, you go back to the military where, at all these different levels, we gave them some sort of training, right? And there's an expectation at those levels.
Absolutely.
And you hold people to those standards.
What would you retire with at the sheriff's department at?
I was a sergeant, yeah.
Yeah. How much leadership training did you have?
Oh, with the department?
Yeah.
None.
None.
It was, here you go.
Right.
You're sergeant now.
It's an appointed position. Did you have to take a test or what?
So, I mean, there was a test and interview process, yes.
Yeah.
There was.
So, yeah, well, that's good. In my term, I took a leadership training, just one. I think it was like 6 hours, and
Was it an online course?
no, we actually went to a training, right? And the guy and the instructor, he was good, he come, I can't remember, like South Carolina or North Carolina or something, and he was funny, and I learned some from it, especially when it comes to like officer complaints, because that was an aspect that maybe I understood, but I didn't understand, and how I should handle it. And so when you take bits and pieces from different trainings, you kind of retain that knowledge.
Sure.
And so I did learn something, but it wasn't rooted, like structured. And yeah, I just think law enforcement loses that, and then what happens, we get appointed or elected, and we forget about where we come from.
Right.
In your opinion, where's the rubber meet the road? In law enforcement, where does the rubber meet the road?
Oh, it's the patrol.
Absolutely.
Patrol, 100%. Because it's the basis of everything we do. Look, you can have all these specialty units, but these specialty units do no good without patrol.
Right.
A lot of times the patrol is feeding information to these units, right? And so they can do their investigations, they can do this, that, and the other. Everything from drugs to
Theft, robbery.
sex trafficking, whatever, it's patrol is where it's at. And if you don't have that base knowledge of patrol, I mean, I don't know. Your law enforcement's not that good then. Yeah.
There's a
Skills.
divide there.
There is.
Absolutely. There's definitely a divide there, and that needs to be undivided. Because if you need to know, hey, Jack Smith, he drives a what? You call them night shift guys, they'll tell you what he drives, who he hangs out with, what time of day he leaves, and those are important information. Yeah. And when police work's a wild thing, man. Police work is its own entity.
Yeah.
Did you ever think it was what it was when you got in?
Yeah. So the crazy thing is when I first got in, I felt some of that brotherhood and camaraderie, teamship, in my early years, and then as time went on, and I don't know if it's cultural changes or what, but it went away. Yeah. And I mean, it's sad when you got people on shifts right now that work together on a daily that really don't know each other.
Right.
And I look at it as, you got to know your brother that's got your back.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's
You know what I always said? If it was like multi-jurisdiction, we all got to eat or whatever, meet up. Hey, where you eating at?
Yeah,
meet up. Don't be the first one to stand up. Do not be the first one to leave the table. Because law enforcement was just, man, oh man. I would agree with you in the early days, things were a little bit different. Yeah. But things changed quite a bit, Yeah. It wasn't as enjoyable for me later on in my career. And yeah, but you can't go back.
No.
It is what it is.
So there is one thing I do want to bring up, and it's more because I've been hearing it on Facebook and seeing it on Facebook, is people are out there saying that if I'm elected sheriff, I'm getting rid of the JCAP program.
Yeah, I saw a post about that.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Why would I get rid of a program that's working? From everybody I've talked to, that the JCAP program, the IRAX program, absolutely fabulous program. Like, I just talked at that Celebrate Recovery thing the other night, and those people were praising these programs. So, just so you all know, it's not going to happen. So,
and those programs work, and I tell you, so 26 years as an officer, started my own business. Right, I'm in the trades.
Yeah,
and I now, I work with people who have arrested.
Yeah,
I work alongside, the people who have been arrested. I know of some companies that went through that JCAP program, and the guy's doing awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm like, and as officers, I'm always happy when you have that success story.
Exactly.
Because that, and I'd like to see more success stories than that. We
would like to see more small businesses, right, step up and go, you know what, I'm willing to work with these other programs like IRAX and things like that to hire on these recovering people, right? And because a big part of recovery, right, is having something after confinement, right? And because if you have an opportunity to go to, less likely you're going to fall back into them bad habits. I mean,
it's a good point, man.
Yeah, just. So I mean, it is. It's just small businesses.
And there's plenty of work out there.
Yeah,
trust me. There's plenty of work for everybody, and
in the trades.
Yeah,
I mean,
heck yeah.
Look, we all need workers. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I heard that story about getting rid of JCAP, and I figured that was just rumor mill.
Nonsense.
Yeah, no kidding. Just moving on. I want to talk about mental health of officers a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So, you hear PTSD, and you automatically think about the military, right? Yeah. I mean, I understand. But PTSD affects so many officers. I mean, EMTs, firemen, look what the EMTs see every day. I don't even know how they can do it.
Right.
On the patrol side, You know, you get calls. You know, you're doing CPR on young kids. You know, it does hit. It does hit, and everyone gets affected a little bit differently. You know what I mean? So my daughter, she does this thing is I'm probably gonna get it wrong, but it's EMDR training, and she's explained it to me a little bit. It's for PTSD. My two cousins who are Tampa cops, they both went through it, and they said, "Man, it's great. It's awesome." You know, and she's local. You know, do you have any resources or anything for officers, or do you have an idea or a plan, you know, for mental health?
Yeah, so we always look at the job of law enforcement as, hey, we're all manly men, right? And we see all kinds of bad things, and you're just expected to, you know, suck it up, internalize, right?
Right.
And it's like ignore and override, right? Yep, we see these situations, we just ignore it, override it, and just continue on. Well, that's a horrible model to go with, and for your mental health, because it'll absolutely destroy you. Law enforcement does need outlets to talk about these situations, and with professionals that understand law enforcement. And I've talked to other people before about, you know, if I was in a situation and it was bothering me, and I went to our local community mental health and would talk to them about that situation as a cop, they would look at me like I was absolutely insane. Right? Because, again, we see things and do things that others don't do. All right? And so there needs to be a program or people that understand cops to be able to talk to them. In the military, we had combat stress teams, and these combat stress teams would teach leaders how to, or things to observe, right, for stressful situations and combat stress, combat fatigue. And so as a leader, you're always watching out for your troops, right? And just like you said in your video, and in the non-commissioned officer creed, it says, my two basic responsibilities will always be uppermost in my mind: accomplishment of the mission and the welfare of the soldiers. Right? So if it's that important that they only put two in a non-commissioned officer creed.
So simple, isn't it?
It is so simple, right? Accomplish your mission, take care of your people, everything else falls into place. All right. But no, there needs to be great outlets. I was just talking to a guy the other day that does some counseling at the jail, and says it's a good program, and he's talked to officers before that have dealt with, you know, horrible situations. But I think he's so underutilized, even if it's, you know, every so often, you know, you just kind of go in and have a chat. But we do have to keep track of our deputies' mental health, right?
Yeah.
It's just as important as physical health.
Do you think that has anything to do with attrition rates?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure. If you're not feeling like you're getting the programs and the mental health attention that you need, yeah, I'd leave and go somewhere else where I can, because it's just, it's going to ruin you, right? And
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, it'll destroy you if you don't get it taken care of.
There was the International Association of Chief of Police in November. They published something on why officers leave, and you know, because I'd made a post, and then somebody was like, you know, it's nationwide, blah 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 blah. And, you know, me just worrying about Dearborn County and not worrying about the nation, I thought, well, maybe I'll just do a little research and see what they're saying. So, you know, they publish a thing on why officers leave, and yes, I'm old, so I have to wear my glasses. But anyway, the key takeaways was stress from inside the agency drives officers to leave. You know, problems with leaders, unfair policies, or lack of support push officers to consider leaving. You know, when there's no support and you're stuck on night shift forever, why would you want to stay?
True.
You know, if you can't build a department within, why would you want to stay?
True.
They talked about, you know, the burnout, you know, then trauma. They said the trauma is part, but not the main problem. And they go on to say the bad experience at one department can sour officers on policy altogether. And good leadership and fair policies keep officers. When officers feel valued, supported, and treated fairly, they're more likely to stay.
I agree.
So they're saying that, you know, this study's saying that, you know, mental health plays a role in it, you know, the PTSD and burnout, but it all starts from the top, man. And
I've always said if you have a great leadership and great working environment, people will work for less money.
absolutely.
So again, I mean, I understand that, you know, pay is a thing, but it's not the main thing.
Yep.
You know, people want an environment that they go in, they feel wanted, they feel needed, right, and they feel respected.
So out of this whole conversation, I'm asking you these questions, you know, and you're telling everybody, you know, what you do as a sheriff. I'm telling you as a taxpayer, what I'm tired of, and that is the attrition rate and the cost that's happening. And the people of Dearborn County don't realize this. You lose 30 officers, right? If the sheriff's budget, and I've heard it was up like $8 million, I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. But you think about this, you lose 30 officers in 7 years. The costs that the taxpayers are shelling out, you know, just because we're putting people in either a popularity contest or not choosing the right people. And I mean, that's why I support you, because I think you can bring the leadership in and you can retain some officers. Do you know how many phone calls that I had received over that video?
A lot.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, in support. And these officers, they can't come out and support you. You know that, right?
Right.
They cannot. It's too dangerous. There's business owners that had contacted me. They can't outright support you in fear of retaliation of whatever.
It's a horrible thing.
It truly is. We live in America. We're not in Iran.
Free country, right?
You know.
Yeah.
I should be able to speak speak what I want to speak and not worry about getting my head cut off.
Without
Right?
fear of reprisal. I understand.
Right. So I just wanted to kind of get with you and, you know, just talk cop to cop.
Yeah.
You know, I've known you for a couple years. You look a little bit different than the first time I met you.
20 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
20 plus.
And I wish you the best. And man, if there's any questions, I hope people reach out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're definitely the right pick. And man, I want to see some changes. I want to see my tax dollars go and retain some officers and get some deputies out here to, you know, they're not short and they're not overworked, you know,
Right.
and retain them.
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
So just for everybody out there, my Facebook page is Jason Wyatt for Dearborn County Sheriff. My website is jasonwyattforsheriff.com. And then my phone number is 812-584-4527. Any questions, just reach out to me directly. Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.